DNVR Bets Daily, and it is a feel-good Friday. Dre, you want to know why it's a feel-good Friday?
I'm waiting patiently. Oh, boy.
It's a feel-good Friday because everyone faded me like I told them to and went 3-1.
3-1, baby. So easy.
Like, this show is supposed to be about making people money.
Yeah.
So whether I'm right or wrong doesn't matter when I tell you not to follow me. Look, if I would have gone 3-1 today, I would have felt bad because I told everyone to go against me, and people, I would have had my what do you call the people that like follow you? That my apostles.
Sure. Yes.
I would have felt bad because they listened to me and then I took their money. But everyone faded me.
That's right.
Into oblivion.
Yep.
And it worked, and y'all went 3-1. So congratulations. I hope that you get some enjoyment out of my deep-seated pain.
Yeah, whatever strategies we're giving out, it doesn't really matter as long as they're winning strategies, and this clearly was with those 3-1 matchups. What's the one that didn't win? That you won and we didn't win.
That would be Jordan Spieth beat Kevin Kisner. He beat him by one stroke.
Of course.
I couldn't even get like a comfortable win. That's the world I'm in right now. I mean, hell, I had Ricky over Rory.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a chance from like the second hole.
Ricky's just bad at golf all of a sudden.
Well, he was 4 under yesterday. I mean, he shot 67 and then just absolutely falls apart today. I don't understand. I honestly, okay, time for a rant. What the hell is golf doing not allowing you to watch this until 1 p.m.? I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Also, to Michael from Broncos Europe, Andre did not have that. I kind of had it.
I had it earlier in the week, then I talked myself out of it yesterday and took Man U.
I kind of had it in the sense that I said I want Tottenham draw no bet because I was worried about the draw. And there you go. You get the draw. There you go, Chris Hill. See, Chris Hill, like you said, it's all about finding trends and exploiting them. The trend right now, fade me. That's the trend. So maybe I shouldn't even speak when we talk about the headliner of this show and the headliner of this weekend's UFC event. I'm not even going to say his name. I'm going to let you talk about him. I'm not going to put my dark magic on top of him.
Even you couldn't screw up this weekend for our guy, Curtis Razor Blaydes. Main event this Saturday. We'll be watching at the DNVR bar, and really I've been thinking about it since that first pay-per-view, minus maybe Amanda Nunes. I'm not sure we've seen a more talented prime contender than Blaydes in all these fights leading up. I mean, he's really that caliber. I know he's our guy, so we almost take it for granted, but I'm just so excited to watch him against Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, and we'll get to that real quickly. Just an update on where we are. So first of all, I got to finish my rant. The whole world is waiting for live sports right now. Like they're like, give us live sports. I mean, the people who hate on golf constantly are down to watch some of this and bet on it, especially. Right. Yeah. And it's not as if 1 o'clock is like, halfway through.
Right.
We're like 3/4 of the way done by the time we get any coverage of this. How the hell is that happening, Andre? And you know what? I'll just incriminate myself right here. I even tried to find an illegal stream. There's no illegal streams to be found, which I can't even comprehend that. So I'm scratching my head on how a professional sports league can have so little of the actual action televised.
Yeah, I don't even know how I have the Golf Channel. I'm paying some extra money to even have that, and that won't even give me this.
Golf Channel does not have featured groups starting at 9 a.m. because I had the Golf Channel on starting at like 8:30 today. There was nothing. They were showing some like they were showing some like U.S. Open tribute show until 11 a.m. And 11 a.m. they brought in, coverage, which was just essentially, them talking about what they think is going to happen. Then once in a while they show a shot from the course. But this is just unacceptable, completely unacceptable. We need, this is
here.
This is an atrocity. Also, They got to get with the betting. People don't care about the end of the day. I realize that tomorrow and Sunday, all the action is going to be at the end of the day, but people are betting on these matchups that are going off at 5 a.m. They want to see what's going on.
Yeah, I don't incomprehensible with the state of the sports world right now that they would deprive us of early morning golf.
And they want you to pay $10.99 or some garbage. It's like,
get out of here.
Maybe $4.99. Maybe
not even. Yeah, but get out of here.
Or do a la carte. Make me pay $5 to watch the first 2 days or whatever. I'll do that. Anyways, I've gone off the rails. Okay, quick update on the guys who you might have rode with me before we knew we were fading me. So Tony Finau, we've got him in the top 30, and he's playing some good golf. He's on 18 green right now, has a chance to putt to get to 9 under, which would be huge.
Let's go.
If he can make that putt, but they're obviously suspended right now, so we don't know. It'll be a while before we know if he makes that. Who else did we have? Gary Woodland. We have him to finish in the top 30. A nice little charge today, a little 68 out there. He's in 41st place. So he'll have a chance. He'll have a chance to get us in there. Two good rounds, and we're in. Justin Thomas. We have him top 20. Now he's going to have to really put it together, but encouraging signs today as he shot 66, 5 under 66 to get himself inside the cut line, which back-to-back weeks of the cut line being well under par. And so he'll have a chance to play his way into it in the weekend. He'll have to really put together some good golf. And unfortunately, Harold Varner, your boy, you talked me into it, honestly. I'm blaming you for this one.
It was easy money.
We had him to finish top 40. And he fires, he's 1 under par. He's playing good golf by anyone else's standards. Doesn't even come close to making the cut. And then the last one here, he's got 2 holes left to make the cut.
Come on.
He's 1 off the cut line. It's Xander Schauffele. But even if he makes the cut, we got to get him all the way up there into the top 20. So it looks like a best case scenario right now is going to be a 3 for 5.
Okay.
But 2 for 5 is more likely. And the only person who's inside where we need him to be right now is Tony Finau.
Good old Tony, your guy. What
he really is Spieth? My guy.
Where is he?
Spieth is sitting there at T29. He didn't do anything today. Just nothing exciting.
Yeah, just the -1. Bro, you didn't have Koepka in any of this? Jeez.
No, I got off Koepka because he let me down last week after I said that he was going to treat it like a major, and he didn't.
It's true.
So I don't know. I mean, I've sprinkled some free. I keep getting free bet. Like literally, DraftKings is just firing free bets at me out of a cannon.
You're their favorite customer.
Yeah, seriously, I'm giving them free money every day. But I just, they keep throwing free bets at me, and I keep sprinkling it on people to win the tournament. So, well,
nice.
Maybe we'll get a miracle. If Tony wins, I'm back in the green. Who else did I sprinkle here? I think I might have a little bit on Gary Woodland. I have some Dustin Johnson action.
A little Dustin Johnson dust.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson.
Nice.
Oh God. So, cross your fingers, pray for me. But we don't, because of the suspended round, we don't have matchups yet for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll try to get those in tonight, and then I'll let you guys know where and how to fade me. And hopefully you, like Chris Hill, can make some more money off my misery.
Yep.
Okay. It is Blaydes week. We've been waiting for this since we started on our at least I have, since we started on our UFC kick. I've just kept saying, when's Blaydes gonna fight? Blaydes gonna fight? And he's fighting. He is a heavy favorite in this, no pun intended, on the weight class that he participates in. And that makes it interesting in terms of how to bet on him and have it still be fun. Again, I'm not saying anything about my picks. But maybe I'll give you guys some interesting things that you could consider that I won't be giving out. So excellent. Let's go through the whole card where we'll work our way towards Blaydes.
Okay. Perfect. I'll last couple of weeks I've been giving kind of my prelim upset of the weekend, and this week I love a local kid, Austin Hubbard, who trains with Blaydes. He's going to be in his third UFC fight. He's tough as hell, really good fighting on his feet, and can really hold his own on the ground. He's going against UFC debutant Max Roxpov, who for someone debuting in the UFC is kind of a big favorite at -186. Roxpov has won so far. His 5 professional fights are all round 1 submissions.
Wow. So he really gets his Roxpov quick.
That's beautiful. Well played. And I just think Hubbard's really getting underestimated. This is a guy who, just like Roxpov, two champions in other fighting divisions or what have you, other leagues. And the fact that Hubbard's been training at Elevation and, has this experience in the UFC. His last fight, he lost in a decision to a silver medalist, Danish wrestler in the Olympics. So, he's been tested at a higher level. I think everyone's expecting Roxpov to just go off and continue this streak, and he's a hot name. I liked Hubbard here at +150. And if you want to hedge that a little, you could take Max to win in round 1 at +300, because he feels like the kind of guy who, if you get out of round 1, then Hubbard's really going to have a huge advantage. And that might be something I consider in the live bet if we get out round 1 as well. So there's my early prelim upset and a few other caveats to throw in there.
All right. Well, we love Colorado fighters. That has been a great trend for us. Austin Hubbard. Great name for a guy who trains out of Colorado. Just, sounds like the guy you might run into at like Lake Street Tavern or maybe the DNVR bar. It's a very Denver name, I think.
Right. Just met Austin Hubbard. Yep. At the DNVR bar. He's fighting this weekend. Crazy, huh?
Yep. Exactly.
He's fighting Roxpov. Yeah. It all just flows so well. And then into the main card. But we have a couple interesting stylistic matchups, and the first one is this Liam Good against Bilal Muhammad, and Muhammad is the favorite at -130. Good, just slight underdog at +105. Good is kind of the flashier, quicker mover, defensive guy. These guys are both just rocked up, but Muhammad, he's that bulldog.
What class is this?
I gotta double check. They're in the 155s or maybe even 170s. Here, I have it on the other browser. Unless
didn't mean to derail you there.
You're fine. They're fighting at 170. So yeah, these are welterweights. So it's gonna be exciting just to see that. I don't know what Drew's referring to with the innuendo of the day.
That was fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. I forgot all about that.
Wow. How could you?
Yeah, it's true. I got into the UFC
thing I've done on this show all week.
It's true. Well, no, you're winning some people money now, so I wouldn't put yourself down. Now, remember, this is in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex smaller cage. Muhammad's going to be the better grappler. He's the tone setter. He's the guy who's going to kind of come at it. So I do like him just slightly, though. I see this as a pretty even matchup. The line I really like for this is for it to not go the distance, which is +120. These guys could, in a normal setting, I could easily see either go to a decision and kind of play this out in 3 rounds. The way these two guys match up stylistically, I just think it's going to be too hard for this to not come to, get a finish one way or another. And I like Muhammad just slightly as the tone setter here. And yeah, I like that plus 120 to not go the distance.
I'm scared to be in public while watching UFC because I just really get really into these fights. Like, I'm like squirming on the couch, like I feel like sometimes I think I'm in the fight. I'm like out there trying to dodge and whatnot. So I can already picture if this is a fight where these guys are going to be going after each other, I'm going to be like, oh. So
I'll take that over what I do when I have KO bets, which is just shout finish them at the TV on repeat, which is a very sane behavior for a grown adult to do with a child at home.
You're like hearkening your inner Mortal Kombat.
That's right. There was a lot of that going on with that Walt Harris before he blew it all. Like finish him.
It really is like when you cheer on these guys, it's a very aggressive. I mean, it's aggressive sport, so it fits. But you're just like,
right.
Come on, finish it.
Right, for sure, 100%.
Really gets the adrenaline going. God, I love it.
Oh, it does. It's great. Another opening card matchup, maybe the least exciting here, is Roosevelt Roberts, one of the few guys we've already seen. Roberts, kind of a skinnier, wiry guy, just 26, so young for the UFC. And man, this guy's a stud. He can do everything, so mobile. He goes against veteran Jim Miller, who's a plus 185 underdog. Miller doesn't scare me too much. Roberts is a minus 240. I'll take him. That won't go as one of my picks with such a big favorite. A line I am intrigued by here is Roberts to win by submission at plus 350. Not necessarily a KO artist, but he's got great reach. I think he could get Miller on the floor and finish him with a submission. Of course, that's kind of a long shot, but if you want to put some action on this fight, that's where I'd go.
Roosevelt Roberts and Jim Miller sound more like transcendentalists than they do sound like fighters out here.
We just got a notification. They'll be the new Monday Night Football crew for this year. Roosevelt Roberts and Jim Miller. Like, that sounds really good on a press release. Then everyone would be like, sorry, who? I've never heard these guys before, but they sound better than Booger McFarland, so fine.
This guy needs a nickname. Like, do they call him Rob? That could work for a fighter. Roosevelt Roberts just isn't going to do it.
Why do you only ask the questions I'm not prepared to answer?
He probably has some many of these guys have such lame nicknames. They're like Roosevelt, the Steel Curtain Roberts.
The Predator.
Yeah, see, that's such garbage. Get that out of here. You can't just take names from movies. The Finisher.
Bilal Muhammad is Remember the Name. I really like that.
Bilal, remember the name Muhammad. That sounds like a lyric in a song more than it does a nickname, but we'll give it to him.
And I think we've kind of reached halfway through this main card and halfway through the show.
And that is a good time to remind you that if you're going to get in on the action this weekend, you want to do it at DraftKings Sportsbook. Like I said, I don't know what's going on at DraftKings Sportsbook, but they just have this cannon, and no matter where I go, they just fire free bets at me. And I'm like, what's this? And then I just put it on something that's a long shot, and it goes away.
Right.
But they keep me coming back, and they'll definitely keep you coming back. There's all sorts of great promotions at DraftKings. They always have something good. And this weekend, if you're betting on UFC, they once again have Fight Night protection, meaning if you pick a fighter to win on the money line and they lose, not in a decision, but in any other way, submission, DQ, knockout, TKO, then you'll get your money back in a free bet. So this is the type of stuff that really highlights why legal betting is great. And right now you can get a $1,000 sign-up bonus when you use the code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook. $1,000, use the code DNVR, and get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough, and restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And yes, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Nice.
All right. We've made our way halfway through the card. We've got some picks. What was the one you liked on that again?
On the Roberts? taking Roberts to win by submission at plus 350.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he's such a big favorite. I think he finishes it, but he's more of a submission than a KO guy.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's a decent hedge. Then we get into the ladies fight for the main card. Raquel Pennington, who trains out at Altitude MMA here in Aurora, going against Marion Renault. Look, this is going to be a really exciting matchup because these two gals are excellent on their feet. Pennington's really a brawler. Renault has some amazing speed, really kind of a volume puncher who's going to keep coming at you. So I think this is going to be fun. And that clash of styles almost has me intrigued by the plus 140 for Renault. The problem is Renault's kind of a late in life MMA adopter. So she's had way fewer fights, but she's 42. Pennington's 31. And Pennington's 42. And Pennington has just fought a whole other caliber of fighters at this point in his career. Amanda Nunes, Holly Holmes, people who even the casual person would know. Renault isn't at that level just yet. So I have a hard time going with the upset here just because Pennington's so safe. Pennington at minus 180 isn't great value. And I do see this going out of decision, so I don't see a ton of props related, but I think this sets up.
What is it to go to decision? Do you see that line?
Yeah. To go the distance, it was in the minuses. I think almost in the minus.
So you could get Pennington to win by decision at 137, but that's a lot of minus 137. But that's a lot of variables there that you're kind of counting on.
Yeah,
I would never bet on someone to win by decision because your heart will get ripped out and just shown to you on a platter.
I know, and yet sometimes it is like, man, that's such nice value. Like Amanda Nunes in that one, like that had no business going 5 rounds. They had to ask her opponent's corner and her opponent like multiple times, do you want to continue and have her checked out? Right. And it's still, and so whoever bet on that was in the plus 400s. But I feel you. That's that's a tough one to take. That's a tough one to sweat out.
Yeah, you got to sweat it. You're rooting against your own fighter in the match. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough one. Josh Emmett against Shane Burrows. That's going to be a really fun fight. Another great clash of styles. Emmett, big KO power, bulldog, just going to come after. He's that Justin Gaethje, Drew Dober, aggressive puncher, and has a nice wrestling background. So as a plus 115 underdog, I'm quite intrigued by him. Burrows, flashier, more athletic, nice chin, is going to keep this going. Maybe not a KO artist, but a guy who come the second and third round with that athleticism and flash, can get a couple really like nasty shots in and can finish you with a TKO, and just overwhelm you over time. Really excited for this fight. And I'm intrigued, Emmett's the guy I tend to gravitate towards because I like the aggressor. I like the greater KO punch. I don't like fearing for my life the entire fight and being like, no, please don't.
Please don't land that. Yeah.
Right. But it sort of reminds me of the Cody Garbrandt fight last week, where Garbrandt's the guy that scares me less, but then, final bell, he just uncocks one. And that's the thing with these flashy athletic guys. They have those special kind of shots available to them as well. But I'm going to go with the better value here in Emmett and the guy I feel a little safer watching live. Doubling down, Emmett's won 2 of his last 4 in round 1 knockouts, and none of his fights go in the distance. This is another one where he's going to force the issue so much. He either gets the KO or TKO or he's forced into one. So Emmett to win in round 1 is plus 450. If you believe in Emmett, I would add that to the mix because that's nice value. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 145. Intriguing as well.
Yeah, that is intriguing.
And so, and that's a fight I'm quite excited about with these 2 ranked contenders. And then Blaydes Volkov, man, I told you to start the week off air when I was talking to Blaydes last Friday. I think he was in the minus 270s. By the time we talked about this on Monday, he was already minus 400. Last I checked a few hours ago, he was minus 435. And Volkov is a plus 318. I saw an article on ESPN where they asked like 5-6 different coaches and fighters, do you think Volkov has a chance to beat Blaydes? All 5 or 6 picked Blaydes to win. And this is against a top 5 ranked contender in the heavyweight division. Volkov, very accomplished kickboxer. He's held his own against some really accomplished, wrestlers as well. But Blaydes' combination of athleticism, his wrestling background, his grappling, and the fact that Volkov's 6'7" to Blaydes' 6'4", but they have the same reach. And that's Volkov's entire game, is to play you at a distance, keep you on the edge. Well, as I was talking to Blaydes in the show last week, you can find that last Friday's show. Him and I talked about it on this podcast, or you can find it on YouTube and see us talking about it. But this favors Blaydes so much because Volkov is so big on kicks. Well, that's so problematic when you're going against a wrestler because you're way more reluctant to put your leg out there because then he can grab it, take you down, and you're just done. And Blaydes was saying, yeah, that's what happened with Junior Dos Santos in his last fight, one of the best, punchers and strikers in the heavyweight division. Well, Junior was kind of reluctant to go at Blaydes because they're so worried to get caught and then be brought down by the best wrestler in the entire heavyweight division in Blaydes. So Volkov is going to have to be so meticulous in picking his spots and going with those, just the calf kicks, because going with high kicks, I think it's going to be problematic. Volkov does have an array of strikes and that length. The other thing is the small cage plays so much into Blaydes' wheelhouse because Blaydes wants these distances to be smaller. I think as soon as he can get into the phone booth with him, exchange some punches, he's going to take him to the ground. No way this goes to the distance. This goes the distance. And yet Blaydes is such a huge favorite. I looked at all these different props. Unless you go with Blaydes to win plus winning method, which I think would be TKO, KO, or DQ plus round, I don't see a great value bet anywhere here on Razor because he's just that big a favorite.
So I am with you on that.
Yeah.
And in ones like this, you really got to go searching. I even had one of my buddies call me today, and he's like, "Hey, I wanted to bet on the DNVR fighter, but I'm not finding much value in here." So again, these are not picks that I'm giving out.
Of course.
But if you're searching for value, I believe I've found some.
Lay it on.
You go the fighter and the round.
Yes.
And what I would do if I weren't ice cold and I was giving out picks would be to sprinkle a little on Blaydes in round 1 and Blaydes in round 2. Now, round 1 is plus 260. Round 2 is plus 400. And so let's say you put $10 on both of those. Well, you're in for 20. If it happens in round 1, you're getting back 26, or you're getting back 36, right? Because you get your 10 back and then 26. And if it happens in round 2, you're getting back 50. So you have some safety there. Obviously, you're going to lose one of those bets no matter what, and there is a chance you lose both. But that's a place where you can go and find some value. I think it would be weird to bet on just round 2. Now you're just kind of crossing your fingers. I will say this: you also can get the fight ends in round 1 or 2 minus 125. And the reason I'm talking about rounds 1 and 2, for a couple of reasons. One, there is a belief out there that if Blaydes wants another shot at Ngannou, he needs to put on an entertaining fight. So I think he's going to be extremely aggressive. And then on top of that, I was already thinking that. Well, then last night, our guy Blaydes tweets this out. FYI, if y'all were hoping to see a 25-minute stand-up war, you probably shouldn't tune into the main event because I fully intend on ragdolling my opponent. Just figured I'd let y'all know ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that could be mind games and whatnot, but I just think that Blaydes not only needs to do this, he needs to do it a certain way. And that means knockout. That means exciting knockout. That means, get the people on their feet proverbially, or maybe just at the DNVR bar. So I like rounds 1 and 2. I think Blaydes comes out and tries to go for something that sends a message to Dana and even to Ngannou that, hey, I'm ready for another shot at this.
I like it. I like that thinking. It's just hard to find some. It is hard to find. He's just such a big favorite, and people just think he's gonna smoke him.
Yeah, it honestly kind of worries me a little bit, but you're pretty steadfast.
But I mean, he's locked in too. I'm not. His game plan. It's a nice matchup. I'm very confident in Blaydes in this one.
Here's another one, although I don't know why you would do this instead of what I was just talking about, which is Curtis Blaydes to win in round 1 or 2. You can get plus 115 on that. So less of a investment.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
I saw Blaydes by KO, TKO, or DQ minus 190.
That's
which
you're giving
away a lot. I think is what's going to finish. Yeah, you're giving away a lot. You can
go under 2.5 rounds.
Parlays. Yeah, under 2.5. What's that coming in at?
148. So still just not a lot there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when our fighter's just amazing, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, and he's protected as well with his DNVR mask.
So let's get into that. If you are applying that protection, I was going to say the DraftKings protection. Great seeing him at the weigh-in.
Look at that with the DNVR mask.
Boy, he's just all business too.
Just get it over the nose there, Blaydes. It's all right. There's no one around. Anyways,
if you're going to use the protection to go and put that money line on an underdog, and that's just for the main card, right?
Yep.
So Hubbard, don't do it with Hubbard. You're not going to get that protection. I think Josh Emmett's the protection you go after, because again, that's that fight where I think one way or another, he's either getting KO'd or he's KOing someone. So that protection should be perfect for you, and he's a plus 115 underdog. So.
The truth is, the strategy really would be to just take any main card underdog anytime. And honestly,
that's true. Right.
Especially the ones in expected knockouts, take away our love for Curtis Blaydes and the fact that he is a heavy favorite. We're not just being homers here.
Right.
He is the favorite by a lot, but you could just sprinkle Volkov, and the worst thing that happens is it goes to a decision. We really don't think it's going to a decision,
right?
But other than that, you get it back, and if you won, well, then you have an emotional hedge there, as the DNVR fighter went down, but you won, 3-1 odds.
That's true. This does make me think of all the main cards we've covered so far, minus Amanda Nunes. This is the biggest favorite we've had.
It is. Yep.
By a mile too. I don't think we've had anyone over minus 200 outside of Nunes and Blaydes.
Do you have any sort of insight into how they pick these matchups and why? Like, why would you pick such a heavy favorite in Blaydes?
The heavyweight division's in a bit of a tough spot because the champion and top contender are kind of two older guys. They before having fought last, they'd swap spots. So the top contender now was the champion, and the champion was the top contender. They beat each other, so now everyone wants the rematch between Miocic and Cormier, and they have no real interest in fighting Blaydes or fighting Ngannou. They just want this matchup, and then to kind of go out into the sun. And, it's taken a while to get that. It's finally scheduled for August, and Blaydes seemed very relieved by that. So then you've got, it's almost like Ngannou's like the gatekeeper. He's almost the de facto champion, but not really.
He should be the champion.
Right. And he's just fought Rosenstrike. We had Walt Harris and Overeem fight each other already.
The Rosenstrike fight.
Oh. Right. Yeah. What a mess.
Was tough to watch.
Blaydes has already beat Overeem. Ngannou's already beat Blaydes. Blaydes was kind of a good guy, and instead of pressing, just said, look, give me a fight. You want to give me a top 5 contender that's got a big audience because he's Russian and everything. Fine, let's do that. I'll prove that I'm worthy, and then you can give me that Ngannou fight. Or some other, because really right. Blaydes as the third contender should be demanding after a big win in his last fight to fight someone ranked higher than him in the rankings. Problem is, as the third contender, this division's completely held up by Ngannou waiting for a title shot and the top 2 guys needing to get their rematch done. So it's just, yeah.
I mean, Cormier, like, am I wrong in looking like in saying that he does not look like he's prepared to fight? Like,
you should have seen him in the title fight, dude. I don't know that short of George Foreman, I don't know that I've ever seen anyone in a combat sport have that big a belly.
I'm like, he's sitting there calling it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. They've got the old legend from 25 years ago. Oh no, he's the number one. He's the title. What's going on? Right. I'm like, Ngannou would kill this guy.
Yeah, on paper, that's what I would think as well. But yeah, man, heavyweight division's weird too because those guys, their careers can last a little longer because speed's less of a part of the equation, so they're all a little older too. And so,
what do you think the line would be if Ngannou and Cormier fought?
Interesting. I think it'd be pretty close. I mean, Ngannou probably is getting more of the action. I don't know that he's much more than minus 140, though. Wow.
Yeah, even that. I mean, I guess we'll see. The smart thing would be Cormier wins this fight in August and then retires, right? That's what he should do?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's just a new fight. It's just like, okay, Blaydes Ngannou's the new champion. We're going to decide that in March or something.
Oh, right, because then the guy who's just lost doesn't get any claim to it. So and then Dana just gets to decide what the title fight is.
Right.
And then Blaydes fights for the title.
Yeah, and then the division starts anew, and it could kind of be like the bantamweight now once Cejudo left, and for a second it was like, oh man, he's the biggest star for all those little guys. And actually it's like, oh, now we have Sandhagen and Sterling and all these guys. Garbrandt's coming back and all these guys. It's actually exciting for the division. It opens things back up, and hopefully that can happen with the heavyweights as well.
Yep. Well, as you can tell by the length of our show here today, we are excited about UFC this weekend. And if you're excited too, there are still spots at the DNVR bar. Awesome. So we've got a few spots left, and you can come down, hang out with us, watch Blaydes, watch our guy. We're going to have a lot of fun. Andre, what time are you getting there? I want to be there when you get there.
I was thinking it starts between 6 and 8. I'll try to get there right at 6.
All right. I'll see you at 6.
I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, so what time's our first fight here with your guy Hubbard? Oh, that's at 3:15.
Yeah, that'll be early. Nice.
So then we got to wait a little bit later.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 o'clock. Well, yeah, it looks like the authors Miller and Roberts going together at 6:15. So yeah, we'll be there at 6.
Perfect.
Come hang out. If you're a DNVR member and you haven't been to the bar yet, you should, because you'll find out that you get a 22-ounce beer for the price of a 16-ounce beer, which is a hell of a deal, especially when you just hold it in your hand. You feel more important, and you are. So come down, watch the fight with us. It should be a really good time. Obviously, we'll stay by the state-mandated guidelines of how many people we can fit in there, and that's why you want to go ahead and RSVP now, because if you RSVP, you guarantee your entry. So with that being said, it's going to wrap it up for us for the week on DNVR Bets Daily. I will let you know what my matchups are in the PGA tomorrow so you guys can fade me, because I want you guys to all profit off of my pain.
There you go. Yeah, you better do that. Let me give out some quick reminders and European soccer bets.
Oh, yeah. What's been so successful for us.
Yeah, well, right. I couldn't resist. I did mention before I realized the caveat of the first goal to score prop was just for those 3 games, which, by the way, Bruno Fernandes, first guy to score for Manchester United on a penalty kick. It's just Tottenham scored first. So that didn't work out. Anyways, Leicester City was my first pick for that. I really think this will be high scoring. Take their money line against Watford, plus 106. Very nice. All my picks here are basically road favorites who should be favored more. And remember, in European soccer, we saw this trend in the Bundesliga. Teams on the road aren't being impacted as much because there's no fans. Duh. So Leicester, nice bet. Over 2.5 is an easy minus 118. Over 3.5 is a plus 215. Like that, plenty for Leicester City. There's 3 bets on that game. Arsenal only favored plus 143 at Brighton to win in the money line. Brighton's kind of been a cellar dweller. I think people are too low on Arsenal after a disastrous game against City. Look, we saw that happening. That's classic Arsenal. But they'll play some entertaining football against a team like Brighton and get back on the right way. And your Wolves, plus 108 money line against West Ham. Again, I think that's a nice value against a team that's played very well in the Wolves. West Ham's been kind of a cellar dweller. Big game in the Bundesliga for the second and third spot, even though that's been locked up. Dortmund, plus 200 over Red Bull Leipzig. Look, Dortmund didn't play great last week, first loss of the season, but this is a game that matters, and the second spot qualifies automatically for the Champions League. They're within 3 points of each other, so this is very important. Plus 200, Dortmund seems like great value, even though they're on the road. And finally, KBO. Give me Lions Tigers under 9. Great pitch-up matchup here. And give me Lotte Giants against the KT Wiz over 10.5. Terrible pitching matchup here. So there you go.
Do you know how many picks you're down for this weekend?
I would have to add up what UFC ones don't count as official picks, but between the main card and UFC plus some props, I gave out like 10, and I just gave out another 8. So we're down for 18.
All right.
I'll be sprinkling Tony Finau to win the PGA RBC Heritage in a bunch of different parlays this weekend too. This is going to be a blast. You might be buying me dinner on Saturday because things might be a little rough in the Simone household.
Chris Hill added up 138 picks for you.
Sounds about right. In 5 weeks. That's a modest.
I think he was just talking about just this weekend.
Oh, well, of course.
Anyways, great stuff. And Bronco Tiz here with one last question here. Who are you taking in the RK versus Spano drinking match tomorrow night at the DNVR bar?
Oh, wow.
Well, I can tell you with the utmost certainty that I am a greater favorite in this matchup than Blaydes is over Volkov.
Oh, wow.
The question would just be the real upset could be here if I get stuck driving home.
Yes, that's the real. Who has the insights on that is the wise guy in all this, really moving the line, pounding it hard.
Yeah, maybe you could bring in our analyst here, Allie, to let us know what she thinks she has the best beat on where that's going to be. She's not coming.
Oh,
there she is. Okay. Oh yeah,
denied.
Is she coming? She's thinking about it. Oh, there she is.
I'm sorry, I'm putting a headset on.
Do we have some insights? Who's driving home? Is Spano driving home, and is RK driving home? You have better insights on RK.
I would say Brandon and Lindsay, they're probably going to take an Uber.
Oh,
wow.
Important.
And then I would say there's more of a chance that Ryan's driving home.
Whoa. The lines are shifting right before our eyes.
Wow. Well, I hope you pounded that hard before giving these insights to the public.
Yeah, seriously. It just went from minus 475 to plus 120. Yeah. There you go. Does he know that I'm staying in Boulder tomorrow night?
At this suddenly, Ali over under 2.5 tequila shots became
Oh.
the over on that became
Oh,
fire lines. So get ready for that.
Oh man, this sounds like my weekend. I was hanging out with my buddies last weekend, and literally people were betting on just everything. They're just like,
Love it.
one of my buddies would like pull out a couple dice and be like, odd or even, $20, and just roll it out.
Oh my God.
Love it.
That's what it's going to be like tomorrow night at the DNVR bar.
Sounds incredible.
We're betting on everything. All right.
Yeah.
Now we're officially going to wrap it up here on DNVR Bets Daily. Everyone, good luck this weekend,
Yes.
and fade me as much as you possibly can. Catch.